No issue. Welcome everyone to Silverstone. We're just going through a nice little loading screen right now, but we'd like to welcome you to round six of Great Britain. We had a lot of major breaks. When Koss gets back, we'll give you all the details upon it. Everyone took a nice little flight out after last weekend's race, round five. Saw a lot of penalties going out, and we saw Slatter from the Haas garage currently facing a qualifying ban after a recent wreck following former Lamar. So we're going to see some pretty interesting situations upon that. See how Slatter gets along with that. He said he'd be going out for a little run and then going right into the pits. No laps are allowed to be set by the Haas driver at all, including invalidated laps. There you can see some pretty big noticeable changes in Human Dan, who found himself initially with the V-Carb family, the Red Bull family, better or less, getting kicked and dropped from that V-Carb team ran by Souls. It would be found that he was sleeping on the job, and that absolutely ruined his chances to stay in that team, but he would instead find himself going to the nice blue of Williams, getting himself all warmed up on his home track in his team's favorite right there, favorite car he loves the most. Duracell battery blinking right there as you watch him, getting all a little squirrely, getting those tires all warmed up perfectly. Find a few other people getting ready for their out laps. We'll bring you all the details right here with the fastest lap, all the times, including lap data, track in the bottom right to see where everyone stands. Going through the Maggots and Baggots chicanes, we're finding a few others all behind, including the Aston of Max Mesa, the Kick Sauber of what seems to be Mersaki, including two Alpines, following Aussie Man, and one of the Haas's, more likely Stampso. We're going to watch as Inhuman Dan right here gets ready to set up for his lap. Lewis retiring from the session following himself getting a qualifying ban of his own after having a huge, immense wreck in Belgium with Souls. Souls wasn't happy, he got no points for the team, but that will be a story he wants to change for today. This has been a very eventful weekend compared to last, with a lot of big driver swaps, moves, and etc., including Stampso, who was a part of that McLaren team, having a little bit of a squirrel with Score and getting himself out of that team. Teddy, though, Slatter, better known as it, finds himself retiring from the session, by the seams of it, better than ever. So he has his setup all prepared. But yeah, a little bit of a squirrel going on for McLaren as he departs, goes to the Haas Ferrari family over there, and got McLaren losing a seat that got oddly replaced. Yeah, now getting a little squirrely on this lap, coming out of Maggots and Baggots onto the Hanger Straight. What are your thoughts about most of these driver swaps, Koss? I do have to mention we are also brought by with Koss. I believe he is back, unless I am sorely mistaken. Oh, a little bit of a curb right there. Not what he wants. Definitely not a good sight for sure. I think Koss is experiencing some issues by the sounds of it. But what we do see is no issues for Stampso, who sets the time down with a 1:27.8. Wonderful work. That's what you like to see. And seems like Koss is and that's a big moment for Dan. Not entirely perfect for the Williams driver. Mark Lax has found himself unfortunate and out of various races in the big points. And that kind of sets him afar from everyone else. If we look real quick on the race director, we have a good idea of what tires everyone's on. U6 on the mediums, incidents following those who are getting past the track limits. It's going to be Max, it's going to be Stamso, Mersaki, and Mersaki. Definitely some big moments right there. Well, nothing goes for pit stops, but that definitely will be a various problem that this driver wants to solve. Squirt, though, coming back at him. There you can notice, though, Squirt, who is the current person leading the championship, finding himself applying the pressure onto all the people around him with a wonderful 126.9, a time to beat, as everyone else behind is about to go ahead and set their laps of their own. As Hash Brown, if we talk about him from last race, Belgium, found himself getting a wonderful recovery into that P2 position from a not a horrendous qualifying, but a qualifying that could have been better, to say the least, but it still was one of, not of the best fights we've ever seen in history, as he battled out the driver champion as it stood. Haas, though, still leads the constructors, and it's not going to be a pretty sight, I'll tell you that for sure. There you can see as Hash Brown sets down the fastest lap, he's here to show everyone who's the boss with a 126.6. Excellent work from him. And we go to Marklax, also in his home GP right here, as he's coming around these corners. That'll be a tough one. I'm gonna have to get Koss back into the table, so just give me 1 sec, if you will. Welcome back, Koss. If you can figure if your audio is getting picked up, just let me know. We'll figure this right away. Marklax, though. Negative? Is it not giving you the option to turn it on? Oh man, it's gonna be a terrible situation as Marklax puts it in P5. Stream is live, so I wonder what would be the issue for why it's not allowing the stream to be picked up for you. I wouldn't want to end the stream because that would be bad. Scarenzi, though, puts into P2. I guess that is a good sign from Scarenzi, though. Yeah, you're not wrong. Coming back for his debut after he was out for Belgium. So if you just can't talk at all. That's the issue. Like, it's not allowing you. That's actually pretty devastating. I really, because this is going to be the last commentary I'm doing for this weekend, including with you, and I love having you on. Yeah. Yeah. I'd appreciate that. I would appreciate that. Yeah, because I love having you on. You do wonderful work. Ooh. Yeah. Very high deck, you aren't wrong. Actually, if we are looking, though, at P4, Valbo finding himself going into the pits after doing a wonderful run, good enough to be right behind his new teammate, Valbo, making his debut. What you like to see. We have Ozzy Man teammates with Inhumane Dan, who sits in P11, finding himself on his current outlap, getting prepared for a banger lap to occur up ahead as he goes through Maggots and Beggots, and he'd be exiting Chapel Curve. I got a lot of flack from Dan, so I'm gonna have to make sure I get that name correct. I don't want that to be forgotten in any way. Alright, we'll be taking the view onto Ozzy Man in the cockpit overhead. We're going to take a little look and peek as he heads onto the international pit straight, going into Abbey, which leads into the farm's corner. Figure out how much time he can gain and possibly, and hopefully not, lose, as he does seem to have a few drivers behind. I don't know if they're on laps of their own, but it does seem to be one of the Red Bulls who seems to be on the outlap, and Aston Martin who's possibly on his own lap. So we have seen a lot of issues from Max the Mesa. U6 though finding himself also in quite some trouble, a lot of time to make up. Definitely is going to set a few of these drivers into some sticky situations. Next weekend we will be heading into Monaco, and we'll have a full qualifying for that, so we'll find, hopefully not, many drivers backing each other up. That could be very lethal. Lots of laps could be deadly ruined and lead to possible penalties. Although we do have the two people out in front, Hash Brown, someone who's won here before, having a little bit of controversy almost with Leo, who almost swiped him out. In fact, Leo won't be making it this race weekend, so it's a very unfortunate sight to see. But Hash Brown, still the dominant driver from last year, with the Season 2 champion name on him, leads as Scarenzi is in P2. Aussie Man, though, splitting the McLarens. What you like to see right there, I'll tell you that. If we're taking a look onto Scarenzi, we'll see that he's on a lap, leading up the Hash Brown. 4/10 is what we're hearing, is wonderful news for Aussie Man to make up right there, finding himself initially in P7. Scarenzi getting a little loose right there, not where he wanted it. Hopefully he doesn't lose too much time off of that, but he is really cutting it close, taking every bit of the track there, and really trying to maximize every bits he can as he goes through Maggots and Beggots, and will take the exit of Chapel Curve, which is number 14, as he goes onto the hangar straight, which, funny enough, it makes you question if Hash Brown is in the dirty air, or if Hash Brown is truly gaining an advantage off this. So in my opinion, I'm very wrong though. Scarenzi going back into the pits. We're going to go on to Hash Brown, who's going to set his time down, figuring out if he makes any time here, lost any time. No official wording of yet, as he is about to cross the line, finding himself just 1/100th of his last time. One thousandths off his last. That is wonderful consistency. Scarenzi finding himself 500s off. That's not what he wants. Although it's not over though. Formula, he's found himself in P4, getting a wonderful lap in, bringing himself ahead of Aussie Man. He's definitely bringing that into the pits. Let's take a little onboard with Souls. I think he is on the lap of his own. Wonderful work. With 4 minutes on the clock to remain, it makes you question if anyone is out there and able to take the points off. Wonderful work from that Alpine, I would have to say the least. Finding himself right ahead of Aussie Man. Some brutal work. U6 has been heard. Aussie Man. Alright, we'll take a little on board with Aussie Man. Oh, finding himself 5 thousandths off in the middle sector, it seems. Trying to get in any time he can, very close to his nearest competitor. It's been word that U6 has been seen blocking another qualifying run. Not what you like to hear or see. A wonderful lap, finding himself squeaking ahead of the Alpine to get back into 4th place. A little bit of a battle going on there. So that's definitely going to be doing some damage on the qualifying of Formula Lamar. Because he's going to have to find himself getting past Aussie Man. And it's going to put on a huge battle between the Mercedes families for sure. Actually, if you weren't aware, Alpine does sit in that Mercedes family, so it's a little funny to that story, but it was all because of the rumors that Alpine would be changing their units from Mercedes following 2024 to 2025 or 26. Can't recall, but it was one of the two. See a few more people heading out, getting prepared. Mersacky finding himself in 7th place. As we have Mark Lax on his current outlap, definitely is going to be some huge movement seen throughout the tables here. Teddy finding himself having a disconnection with the wheel. Very big errors right there. Wink wink is just the router, but we're just going to say it's the wheel because it sounds more fancy that way. But unfortunate. Right. Alright, the wheel did come off for Fernando during Bahrain. That wasn't fair for him. Getting a little bit of his salty comments in too, if I remember. During qualifying, he said maximized. And that's definitely what U6 will be saying today. He's maximizing everything he can out of that Alpine car right now. Of course, a few people already out, having Inhumane Dan starting P13 so far on his home track. Not good, as he's fucked up his lap, he said. For 26, okay. Alpine making the moves to the Merc engine. Definitely a better call if you look back at Pierre Gasly having his blowout in Las Vegas. Doing wonderful too with that wonderful looking car. But something that wasn't up to spark and able to hold on like his pace. And speaking of pace, we have the top three. Soul starting a flying lap. I'm on the onboard with Mark Lax and Valby. Okay. There are drivers getting out of the way, and if we're looking at the top three, all of them are ready to set laps of their own, so we'll take a look after we're done with Mark Lax, who seems to be on an improving lap of his own right now. Brown and Spun's also on a lap. There's going to be a lot of interesting possible moves. Oh, Mark Lax invalidating. Not what he wants. Mark Lax having a hard time as of recently. A wonderful competitor back in 2023 and as of second season, finding himself in a battle between him and Hash Brown. It's a really brutal and lethal battle between the two, and would find the Ferrari drivers nearly having a battle between themselves on this very same track as Mersacky retires from the session. That is not what you like to see. I don't think anyone's around him, but what you do notice is it's somewhere off the track. It looks like a wreck of some sort. The fastest second sector by who? Valby? Dang, that is very impressive. As we're watching Brown see where he can go, he's about to head through on the last corner of 18 and sets down in time that gets him in P8. And we're going to go with Valby, who puts himself back in P4. Squirt, who's going to want to improve as we go on to Hash Brown. Hash Brown going even faster, as now we have Squirt, who's going to want to make up as many places as he can. I don't think he can. And now we're on to Scarenzi, who finds himself still P2, but on his debut race, ahead of the competition of the World's Drivers' Championship, but it's never over as we have the Alpine set down a 126.3. Wow, that is highly impressive. 31 tenths. That is impressive. Wow. Wonderful plays from the Alpine garage right there. And it was word that Meraki would have spun out 4 tenths up. Could have find so much time that placed him with the competitors up ahead. His qualifying is ruthless, and it does not take any prisoners. The Alpine, though, Speedy Impulse will take the starting grid of P1 by 31 tenths, and will have Hash Brown right behind, following Scorenzi in a P3, Valbo P4 ahead on his debut, ahead of his driver of Squirt, the Drivers' Championship leader, and was hoping to keep his lead, finding himself in an awkward position, although who finds himself in a more awkward position are these two down here, Lewis and Teddy, both finding themselves with no laps as of the qualifying bans they've received. This will definitely set ablaze an interesting start for many of these drivers with pace better than others. Maybe possible wrecks could occur. We never wish for that, though. What we do like to see is the clean, fair fighting. So, we'll see how this ends. As the track is finally dry, we haven't seen rain, so this is definitely going to help various drivers who have proper setups that won't get influenced by possible rain incoming. All the drivers will be on pause though as they wait for the official setups. All drivers have to commend if anyone does break the rules. There have been incidents of getting penalized in the past. As you watch the DHL board changing back from Aramco, back and forth, with Qatar Airlines also a sponsor on the main straightaway. Teddy finding himself out of the session again. That's not what he likes to see. The Wi-Fi acting up completely. Not what he wants. That's definitely going to be having some wheel issues right there and setting Teddy in an awkward position, as if we look at the current statistics, we have Squirt leading Slatter, which is Teddy, by 31 points. Nearest competitor is Scorenzi with 44. Scorenzi missing out on Belgium and having a huge wreck that only allowed him to gain 1 point during Saudi Arabia. It's just not something you want to see. Damien, though, in P3 would find himself leaving the team to become the engineer. That's why we did have that replacement and why we had the new driver move from McLaren, who was Stampso, moving in. A Tier 2 driver would be making his announcement to Tier 1, I believe it is B-Dot, but he isn't here to greet the grid, unfortunately. All the drivers will be starting on the international pit straight. Everyone getting their setups finely tuned. So, invents are going out, getting the wheels fixed up. Hopefully, no one readies up. Stampso rejoining. Oof, a deathly mistake that could have cost various points to the Haas team, who find themselves still leading the world's constructors. If we take a little look at that, though, Haas has found himself in various issues, losing a driver with various pace, a driver starting at the back of the grid with a qualifying ban, and And they're 41 points ahead of Sauber, with McLaren with 46, gaining on their heels. But that's not only who is biting and nipping at them. Red Bull, with a driver, after the departure of the wonderful racer who sat there before with his Canadian flag and deeply is missed, is... I don't know why I'm forgetting names. Wow. This never happens. I'm gonna be dead honest right now. It is Andrew. I don't know why I forgot that name. Andrew works in the in the paddock with me all the time, so I should have this name probably drilled in my head. Yeah, Andrew would depart from Red Bull and become the new TP for Alpine, leading Tier 2 as well, helping out his wonderful racers down there, including Golden Sniper and... Dang. You know what? I try my best. But what is also going on for who's trying his best right now is those who are rejoining. Maybe the lobby is supposedly close to starting soon, if I'm correct. I think that is everyone in the current game. Speedy, yeah. Sometimes I wish I had a joint. Do. So what happens in the commentary box when you got nothing to talk about? Right? I'd love to have you in. We'd be talking about the possible actual changes for real life F1, about the V10s coming in possibly, maybe in the future. 2030, that's fair. I can see that. Oh, here's the 5 red lights going out with Speedy Impulse leading ahead. Hash Brown right behind, having a good run as they head into Abbey. This is going to be a wonderful start as the McLaren of Valbu gets ahead of Scorenzi, and a lot of moves are already occurring. Squirt, who's going to want to get the move on him, but does it, and he gets spun! He gets spun, there's a huge wreck in the back. Oh my goodness, that's got so many players out, including Souls, who gets so many positions lost off the bat as those in the front try to keep their places. Oh boy, and that's going to hopefully help a few of the drivers that want to make up some points from their competitors, but that's still not good. And what's not good right there is that the driver of Inhumane Dan gets a little bit of contact with Murasaki. This is just a horrendous start for a few of these drivers, and that's definitely going to do some damage. And possible, what is it called? It's just going to ruin with a lot of confidence. I'll tell you that as well, as defensive plays are made from U6. And there's a huge hit between the two drivers. U6 having a collision with the driver of Squirt. And now those behind, including King Cobra and Mark Slacks, have the better run. As there in the front, you still see Hash Brown ahead with Speedy Impulse right there, as all of these 4 cars are jumbled up for the places of P5 or P6, if I'm correct. Yeah, it's P6. That is just not a wonderful start for Squirt, though, who gets tapped brutally in the rear. Not the last time that's happened, but I'll tell you for a fact, that's definitely going to do some damage to Squirt. Getting his rear all touched, as we have Marklax on the back of King Cobra, having a wonderful beginning to this race. And Mark takes a little bit of the curve, getting squeezed a little hard there. And not McLaren, Haas in the back, getting Stampzone mixed up with his old team, losing various places as U6 holds a defensive play onto Squirt. Squirt going back at him as they go too wide, and we're going to take a little onboard. Wow, these moves are really swapping up fast right now. Hash Brown losing the place as they go too wide with Speedy Impulse as they head onto the penultimate straightaway of National Pit Straights. Wow, what a start, and it's still not over as we have Valbu still hanging on closely with the top contenders. A lot of moves that could be done here, supposedly in the midst for a four-way battle. Some in the back who found themselves in a huge tussle and losing positions of their own. As you see Hash Brown it's going three wide. They're going through the wonderful corner of Stowaway, and that was a wonderful play from Hash Brown, who gets it done. And there in the back, there's another yellow. I don't know if that will be enough for a safety. I doubt it, as now the Haas drivers are still losing so much time that they wish they could gain the fastest lap, getting pulled away from Aussie, man. These drivers are just battling it out wonderfully. Beautiful points for possibly the Red Bull family. Mark Lax on the back of Squirt. If we take a little onboard, Souls, who lost it out from P17 with a huge spin. Oh, getting in the back of Lewis right there as they go through the corners of the loop right there. The move though being completely done for Souls. Hopefully not gonna slip up as he has been for that huge issue during lap 1. I'll get a lot of tickets, I'll tell you what. And you could tell Marklax has a good run, but he's keeping behind on the corpse corner. Seen a lot of incidents happen there before. And speaking of incidents, Squirt found himself in a huge incident of his own, getting spun almost completely. There you can see Speedy defending from Babu, and in the front it's still Hash Brown leading, and they're going to hold a defensive line in the middle that gives Speedy Impulse the outer line though, who gets the better run, and they are in the very most, you can see it almost going 3 wide as Babu goes for the lead. Oh, and there's a huge moment for Speedy, who has to eat the curb, and that gives Scorenzi a wonderful run as Hash Brown moves out of the way to avoid a possible collision before they head to Abbey, and this is going to be a wonderful play for Scorenzi on his debut race, who finds himself in P3, and now Babu pulls away with a wonderful gap. In the back though, we have Souls, who finds himself getting the move onto Lewis once again. They're both battling it out. Lewis getting his wheels all the way in so he can tell Souls, I am still here and you gotta acknowledge me. But Souls doesn't care. He's getting it done as they head on to the Wellington Straight. What wonderful battling has occurred here, but not wonderful for Squirt. I still pan to Squirt because it's definitely been a rough start for him as he has Mark Slacks all over his 6. Inhumane Dan getting a 3-second penalty starting all the way back there with 27 seconds. Not really the best of starts for the Williams team right there, but Aussie man finding a good amount of positions for himself. We take a little look at the Jesus, there is so much details. Position changed. I gotta stop yapping. But what I do know is Mark Lax gets the position done for what would be almost the most amount of places earned. The most have that been earned has been by King Cobra. Almost getting himself a little nose in onto Murasaki. Wow. This has been one eventful race, and King Cobra does get it past Murasaki. Whoa, this is some good battling going on here. I'll tell you what, the mid-pack is no stranger to wonderful, wonderful battling. Squirt, though, still in the back of Mark Slacks as they head through the village corner before the loop. Coming out of turn 5, they're going to go onto the Wellington Straight. Maybe Squirt with a better run with the DRS open. But it doesn't matter. Mark Slacks holds a wonderful defensive line, but Squirt tries to go on the outside. It doesn't work out for him. Dan getting a 10-second penalty for speeding. That timing was so terrible, Squirt. I mean, Inhumane Dan just retires after getting a 10-second penalty. But see, he is on the back of Babu. Hopefully that Williams doesn't come out of the pits. We've seen that issue happen before when they do retire, and it has caused issues to occur as they go 3 wide almost completely with Scorenzi on the outside of Babu, possibly. I think that Williams still might be coming out. Oh no, that Williams is leaving the pit. So anyone that can hear me, be prepared as Sector 1 has a possible roaming Williams. EA has not fixed their game because they suck at that. So be on the lookout for... Yeah, that is Codemasters. Oh boy. And the Williams is out of the way, thankfully. No extra safety car added in, but that was dangerous. Teddy rejoining, finding himself so far off the grid, so many places to make, and totally destroying his chances at the Drivers' Championship. Stamso rejoining, also finding himself in a situation of his own. Not good for the Haas family, both of them having disconnection issues. And this is definitely going to take a huge bite out of their championship. And I don't know if that was just me, but the graphic had a 2025 moment, IRL, glitching out. Not what you like to see, as Babu tries to stake with, as Scorenzi loses a little bit of time through the sectors of Maggots and Beggets. And there you can see another wonderful run, and they're about to go possibly 3 wide again. And there you can see it, Scorenzi going 2 wide with Speedy. Wonderful plays. And you can see Speedy still having his nose in there, but it's not enough as Scorenzi gets past, or I should better call him Score. Oh man, what a wonderful debut for Vabo though, who finds himself leading this race during lap 7. Yeah, these drivers playing leapfrog here. Hash Brown catching back up with the group. This is playing some wonderful moves, possibly for another 4-way battle and contention. Ozzyman gaining from all this battling as well. Hash Brown wanting a little piece of his action. Last race weekend, he found himself getting into P2. What he loves to see in Belgium, a race he's won at before. This is a race Hash Brown also has won at before, but what can he do for that Ferrari family that's looking for some points in that Constructors? Teddy, though, making up the places, getting past Lewis with a qualifying ban, and having lots of time to catch up to the competition up ahead, who is Souls getting past and getting the move done, who has a 3-second time penalty. I saw that popping up. It's going to be a lot of work for Teddy, though. Slatter is definitely going to be beating himself up with the internet issues that he has no control over. And there, you can see Speedy getting the move over onto Valbu. Wonderful plays. And also in the back, it's Marklax over Squirt, so there is more action for that McLaren team. Scorenzi in the lead as they head onto the international straightaway. This is wonderful battling in action seen all together. Definitely various tickets to occur. We have more than countless accidents that's occurred on the track as you watch U6 getting the move done. Not entirely on the graphic, but what you do know is it's a 3-way battle for these 3. Oh man, it's going to be one hell of a fight. Teddy, though, getting in the points. That awards him 1 point as the points do go up to P12. Lewis getting the car almost done wrong, as you can find Brownest Buns getting his nose in. That's not Lewis, that is King Cobra. Sadly getting my information wrong. Oh man, and that's Hash Brown in for P3, and Marklax getting overtaken by the McLaren. The McLaren going back of Vabu onto Hash Brown. Wonderful place right here. Oh, right before they head into Corpse Corner. That is exactly what the McLaren wants to see right there. Now we have Speedy on the back of Score, who's hoping to get away as Vabu's almost 1 second off. And that's not what Speedy wants. He gets a terrible exit, but a better run still with the DRS on. They're going to go too wide. Maybe Score wants to play with speed here to not entirely get golfed by the DRS system. Oh man, and Babu, he's going to have to do a little defending himself. Definitely is going to pull a little bit of some weight onto these drivers. The top 4 still in contention for some very big points here. Score, who found himself out. Squirt, who found himself in a huge incident during lap 1, completely out of his control. Souls, though, making the early pit is what is going to make everyone maybe a little jumpy right now. Squirt, though, getting close with Aussie Man, and Aussie Man having a terrible exit, as now they're going through the corner 5, and Squirt will have the better run on the Wellington straightaway with DRS, getting it done on Aussie Man without many concerns there. Markslax, though, finding himself maybe held up a little bit as they head through Lefield corner. Now they're going to go into Woodcock corner, and maybe this is where Squirt gets away, as the Williams is somewhat a buffer before they head to the Corpse corner. Speedy, though, finding himself back in first place. But there, you can see Score with the DRS going back at it. These two driving and battling cleanly. It's ever so dancing and so mysteriously beautiful that you have to admire it. As now you watch Vabu getting his braking perfectly on point, sticking behind with Hash Brown sticking in, tucking in closely, as they all are now in a little DRS train. And now you can see Aussie Man getting it back done on Markslax and Squirt. Markslax, though, going in for the turn 1 of Abby, getting a 3-second penalty, getting a little brave there, but it was just not what he needed. Now that's a collision between the two of Squirt and Markslax. Murasaki able to possibly gain from this, as he is in striking distance of Mark after that little bit of touchy action between the Red Bull and McLaren. Markslax won't be happy about that. All these drivers tucking in so closely. Murasaki having a chance, as now Squirt pulls on, gets ahead of Aussie Man before they head into Corpse's corner. Interesting move done by the McLaren driver. A little risky, as now they have Aussie Man right on their tail with wonderful DRS at play. And speaking of the front, we have another two-way battle as Speedy gets past. It's going to be 4 possibly. Oh, and Hash Brown getting a little defended from the driver of Vabu, who's making his debut, including Score. This is wonderful driving action from all of these 4 drivers up in front. And now you can see a few of these drivers also heading into the pits, as there's action on. It brings out a safety car. That's Squirt. He's lost his wing completely and had a huge moment with one of the supposed drivers. Whoa. And that's huge issues for one of the driver champion. Wow. This is one long pit away. So we're going to see if any of the drivers up ahead are at fault or have to be held up by the safety car. It doesn't look like it. A few of them being told to go past. That's definitely going to ruin Squirt's chances at the Drivers' Championship for sure. A safety car will bring all of these people back into action, maybe another possible wreck, but what I will tell you is that wing repair did set back Squirt, and now Teddy, one of the champion contenders, finds himself ahead of Squirt. And we also have Scorenzi, or Score better known, coming back from debut in P2. If he gets a P1 here, this will set the championship back ablaze. Markslax finding himself P5 with a penalty of possibly a 3-second. Ooh, I will tell you, with all these positions that have been done, Teddy's found himself with the most. And if we look at the penalties, 26 seconds given to U6. That is a buttload of penalties, I'll tell you what. That's definitely going to do some damage. Score getting himself nicely and tightly packed right behind. Take a look at these tires. You can see Vabu sticking close on that soft tire compound. Now you see Score getting on that soft tire compound as well. A few of these drivers as well, including Speedy. Vabu going onto the mediums, hoping those mediums will come out better on top. Hash Brown still in this as well. Wonder if anyone is able to gain. I doubt it, as you also have Murasaki and Markslax going in. Red Bull double pit. Those behind, though, is U6, Brownest Buns, Aussie Man, And resolving down for P10 is Teddy, better known as Slatter, King Cobra, Squirt, Stampso, Lewis, and P14, Max the Mesa, and Souls. Definitely some huge penalties out there for sure. I'll tell you what. Safety car gonna bring back everyone. Oh man. The driver. Oh boy. Kills the scene. U6 getting 10 seconds here and there. Going into the pits, going out of the pits, going, jeez. Ram for the ay. That's true. I feel bad too, because you can see Max the Mesa getting a drive-through. Probably one of his best races, to be honest with you. I think Belgium did really well since he got in the points since everyone wrecked out. But it's still no good for Max right now, as everyone is having the pace set by the driver up in front, which is Speedy. The last contending points, though, being held off by Squirt for that 1 point. Squirt unable to pick up the qualifying points as well. This is definitely going to do some huge damage to his championship. The constructors also in question, how much can Red Bull gain from this? If you take a glance now, you can see both the Red Bulls, 2 and 6. Going to do some heavy swinging in the constructors, I'll tell you that. Drivers might be doing one more lap as we have Souls catching up to the end of that pack right there, the end of corner 18 possibly, heading on to the international pit straight. Hopefully all these drivers have a good amount of gap, so when the safety car does come in, they all don't hit each other. I've seen this happen plenty of times, especially through my racing career of my own. It's been brutal when you could have everything going right and then it all goes wrong by a simple incident as such as the safety car. You can see Score getting a little racy right behind Speedy. I would usually keep a good distance before safety car went so I could always get a better run, but that wasn't always the case, especially with these 2024 cars. They have a way of their own. A nice humming to all these engines. Score and Vabu having a wonderful start to their debuts with their new teams. Speedy finding himself leading this current race of Great Britain in Silverstone after a huge wreck in Belgium. Safety car will be coming in this lap, as foretold by our wonderful, wonderful driver back in Season 1 as well, Koss, who's not entirely there. Slatter would have DC'd during lap 1 or 2, which found himself not getting the complete laps, but what we will say is that was his wheel coming off and getting back on. Slatter, though, in P10, finding himself better than Score in this position, but Score finding himself also in the best possible situation. And the racing will continue. 13 more laps to go. A wonderful time for the safety car for the people up in front as the lights are going green once again. Everyone starting away. In the back, you can see the action going down once again. U6, though, holding those behind as you have Brownish Buns having all the speed behind the Alpine driver, getting the move possibly done. Oh, and there's almost a little bit of touching action as you see U6 completely going off. Oh, man. Makes you wonder if there'll be an unsafe rejoin from the driver of U6. No, he's dropping down the pecking order. U6, though, not having a great way to this beginning, and that gives positions up for Squirt, who's finding himself now into P10. Teddy better known as Slatter, up into P8. And this is where it gets tough. A lot of battling occurs for these points up here. But King Cobra finds himself with the driver champion contender in his rear view mirrors, applying some pressure for sure, I'll tell you that. They head into Maggots and Beggets up here in the front, where DRS is not officially turned on, but you can see those soft tires coming into play as you have Vabu on the medium compound hoping to spread his tire compound out further as you get Mark Slacks up for P5. Squirtlax getting a position of zone, Teddy getting a position of zone, and now this is all up for Squirt to get the moves done. A little bit of lagging in the back, you can see right there, and now you have a little bit of tussling going on. Score getting the fastest lap. Now, about, I think this lap, no, I'm just mistaken, don't listen to me, but what you do know is the fastest lap was nearly, if we take a little glance, taken, if I correct, from Score. Take a little glance at the penalties again, see who has what. Yeah, Max still with his drive-through. Not helping him, I'll tell you that. Definitely going to do some damage. Take a position from the leader. There we are. We have the fastest lap given is Score that leads it with a 128.799. Move getting done for Souls on to Lewis right there for those places. It's not the exact thing I want intervals. That helps me a lot more, giving the action of how many hundreds, tenths, or thousandths these drivers are off from each other. Absolute racing action all this way throughout, with Mark Slacks having a 3-second penalty. That safety car bunching everyone up, not helping him entirely, but helping him get a free pit stop and having Red Bull in the best possible position to make beautiful points for the team. As you watch Score have the outer line onto Speedy Impulse as they head through to start on lap 16. They're going on to Vale before it heads to Club's Corner. And there's a few more positions made. King Cobra getting it back done onto Squirt. And there, you can see the racing action occurring. And now, a move for possibly Aussie Man. No, he's just getting his wheels in the right position, so there's no brutal collision that could occur. As Hashbrown takes the fastest lap off of Score. Score who's now leading this race. Oh, and in the back you can see a huge moment for these drivers. Oh, an unsafe rejoin for U6 nearly. Wow, and U6 going back off the ground. This is just not the race for U6. On top of that, that is just, I'm gonna be honest, quite embarrassing for the Alpine team. I don't know if that would be even further allowed. I don't know. He's found himself racked with so many penalties for a tier 1 driver. It's just not what you want. I mean, you have those weeks where you're good, those weeks where you're off, but 29 seconds, that's taking a hit at your confidence for sure, I'll tell you that. And it's definitely going to have you questioning about your position in this, truly. In the front, though, we have Speedy. I believe with DRS being enabled pretty soon, it will allow the drive. No, DRS is enabled now. I'm just flat out wrong 24/7. Don't listen to me. Gets the move done on the Score. So that's allowing a lot of possible switch-ups in the changes, because Squirt's still stuck in this DRS train, including the positions for P9 and having to catch down everyone up ahead. It's not going to be looking great for Squirt, because he also has to hold off with those behind having DRS. So this is just a DRS train, and now you can see in the back King Cobra going off wide. Not what he wants. The points, though, all the way down to P12. Stanso finding himself in a perfect spot for possible points for the Haas family that was out of it earlier at the beginning of this whole concluded race. Another move, though, done for Slatter on the Ferrari family. It's Kick Sauber for P6. Slatter, though, will be having a run onto Mark Slacks as they head onto the National Pit Straight. This is going to make you question if he will hold back before the DRS zone. Very interesting plays could occur as they are about to start going into Maggots and Beggets. You can see the drivers having their wheel properly set up now as he sets through, all the gears, doing all the nicks and tricks to get that place onto Markslax as they head on this straightaway. And it's the move done for him. And it's not just that, it's a move going on for P3. And now you can almost see Score getting his spot almost taken off of Babu. Wow, what a tense what a tense battle right there, I just might add. Score was in a huge spot to lose into P4. And now you can see Slider into P5. That's what he likes to see. Score down into contention from P10 to P11. It's going back and forth. King Cobra getting ahead now. Just awful moment for Squirt right now as he's finding all of the pressure building up, crumbling to his knees. We have U6. Oh my goodness, and right when we turn to him, he's sliding out as Souls gets the move done. Souls getting his nose right alongside of Lewis. These two battling it out hard just as well. These two, no stranger to having incidents in the past, no stranger to having wonderful battles as well. And there in the P9 position, it's still going down as King Cobra and Squirt swap positions. Wow. There is just action at every part of this racetrack, except for the back, including Max the Mesa, who finds himself serving that drive-through penalty. In the front, though, for P4, we do have Hash Brown sticking with, and the DRS open wide and ready. As you see Score going for the move on the outside once again. He's going out on the outside of corner 15 as they head onto Val. This is just one hell of a race, I'll tell you what. And there you can see them all locking a little bit of a wheel right there, getting all right done and perfect, going through these wonderful corners to the next lap, lap 19. Oh man, I'm just getting my tongue twisted every way possible, trying to keep up with all the action that's occurring. I wish I had my co-commentator here, but it's just not possible. But what is possible is another incident for the Alpine driver of U6. Oh boy. And I think that time it actually included Lewis. U6 might be a possible issue for receiving too many penalties. Now a race weekend, that could face himself into a huge issue. We've seen it happen before when a driver would rack up some penalties. I think it included the same driver back in Season 2, but I remember it going that it just kept racking up, and followed him having a qualifying ban, I believe, maybe a race ban. Or if I'm correct, maybe just a straight-up season ban. We've seen that before back in Season 2, and I believe Bahrain, or maybe Qatar. I don't quite recall. But what I do recall right now is it's going to be another battle for the driver of Speedy. And now Speedy having the better run. And now you can see Score getting eaten alive with the DRS. It's going almost 3 wide. Oh my goodness, that was nearly a brutal collision that could have occurred. Hash Brown getting a good little nose in there. Getting himself well known in the presence of this whole battle occurring. Markslax 5 seconds off the pace of those up ahead, having to defend possibly from 2 drivers behind him, Slatter and Murasaki. And you can still see Squirt, who's trying to get out of this battle for P9. It's going to have points, but it's not the points he's going to be wishing for, especially while he's leading this driver championship. And Souls retiring from the session. Oh my goodness, what's occurred there? He seems to have gone into pits. We've seen this issue occur before where it doesn't quite work out, where the driver goes into the pits, but what you do see is some wonderful action going through the corners of 6 and 7 before they head on to Woodcote corner. Oh my goodness, they're about to go into the National Straight before it heads onto Corpse's corner as well. This is some intense racing action. Red Bull and the Ferrari nearly going too wide throughout that completely. Wow, a move being done between these. Speedy having the chance to break away, getting out of that DRS. This is exactly what Speedy wants right now, as you can see Vabu and Score battling it out as well. Score getting it passed done on Vabu. Hash Brown getting the moves done as well. And you can see these two going wheel to wheel. Oh boy, these will be one intense scenes right here as they go through Clubs' corner. Oh, it's still wheel to wheel, and you can see Hash Brown having to slow down, having a collision with Vabu. It was a little of grinding gears, wheel to wheel action. Some may argue that was tense fighting. Some may argue that just wasn't right at all. Score, though, finding himself with the time to make up. Vabu, same as well, as now he is out of DRS range, as Score has to find the time to gain up to Speedy. Speedy and Score both on softs. Vabu, if I'm correct, is on the medium compound, as Hash Brown has to gain the positions he's potentially could have gained right there and lost out. Slatter, though, getting the place done into corners 6 and 7. Wonderful move as Markslack is bringing it back to him. They're going for it onto the national pit straight. It's never over, and maybe Markslack might poke his nose in, but he sticks behind, maybe for that DRS hint of having an easier attack on him. As you can see, Murasaki is still behind. Oh man, this has been one eventful race. I'll tell you what, with 5 laps to go, Squirt still has a lot of action to make up here. Brown is ones with a 10-second penalty. Wonder if it will be appealable. A lot of people wondering if they can appeal the penalties they currently have. Marklax getting the place done, going for the inside. Slatter getting slowed up onto the wonderful play made by Marklax. You can see Slatter behind, not going for anything outrageous, keeping it nice and tidy right behind. And now you can see Score trying to gain all that time he lost out before. So it's going to be a wonderful catch-up game for Score right here. And Speedy, he's going to have to take on the pressure that's building up for him. But pressure is brewing as Slatter tries to go on the outside, tries to make it so he could have the better exit, but it doesn't quite work out as Markslax is placing his car in beautiful positions. That's just absolutely placing Slatter in a terrible situation, but he still gets it done on the Wellington straightaway, so it doesn't matter with that DRS flap open, but it still matters to Markslax. These are the places he's fighting for the most. It's helping him to possibly help that Red Bull family into the World Constructors Championship. Squirt, though, in P10, having it onto King Cobra as they're about to head to Corpse Corner, and he backs out. Oh man, that could have been one brutal wreck we've seen before with Red Bull and Mercedes, IRL, including Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. Squirt unable to carry the speed he wants. Markslack positioned the car right where he needs to, but he gets a little exit slide right there. Still holding Teddy at bay as Squirt gets it passed down on King Cobra. There in the back, though, you can see the move for the Williams, getting it on to Stamso for P11. Wow, what a play. Stamso glitching, getting on the curb. Ooh, that could have been real lethal right there, I'll tell you what. And what's also lethal is this time gained for the driver of Score, getting ever so slightly closer, lap by lap, onto Speedy. Teddy, though, getting it past done on Markslax, exactly what he wants as they go past Wellington Street in the Booklands corner onto Lovefields corner, exiting corner 8. That leads to Woodcut, not Woodcut, National Pit Straits, I mean. You can see that time going down from 0.5 hundredths, is it hundredths? To 4 hundredths. Is it tenths? I'm brains jumbled, I'll tell you what. The action's never over. And now you can see the move for Markslax getting it done onto Teddy. Teddy, though, having the better exit, and there you can see the Red Bull still having to concede position, not what Markslax wants right there. P6 is still a beautiful place, but he has a 3-second penalty that will more than likely be unable to be appealed as he has to hold on. Vabu gaining a 3-second penalty of his own. That's going to be wonderful for Hash Brown, who can now get P3. That's going to be absolutely terrible for the McLaren team that are trying to get points in the Constructors as well against Haas. And we're speaking about Haas. Haas is in currently P5. This is wonderful news. So if Slatter can gain time and not be held up from all this fighting, it can probably hold Haas's current lead in the championship with 41 points, if I'm correct. Red Bull, though, they're definitely going to be taking a huge chunk of that tonight. If Scorenzi, or Score better known, can hold it back and gain onto Speedy, and he has been gaining onto Speedy. You can see that time ever so slightly dampening out lap by lap. You can see Speedy as they both go onto Hanger Straight, and it's going to be a move for the Red Bull driver possibly, but no, he stays put. He's applying that pressure when it's better known, and now Speedy is in the grasp and fighting range of P1 between a lethal enemy right there of the Red Bull family, and you can see his car. They're about to head onto the penultimate lap as Score is getting himself all the ear rest needed, and Speedy getting himself ever so slightly squirrely, trying to hold on. He knows there's 2 more laps. He might be playing dear rest chicken. Man, oh man, this will be one amazing race. The time for the driver in P3, though, gaining from all of this action up front just a tiny bit. Not enough where it will be available for those places, because he still has a 3-second of his own, but it's still enough that could maybe put him into play to battle Score and apply that pressure onto Speedy Impulse, who's leading the race still of lap 25 out of 26. They're about to go through Corpse's Corner that leads into the wonderful chicane that leads up to head Maggots and Baggots, and now you can see the gap ever so etching out into Score's favor. A move, though, back in the back places for P13. It's U6 getting it done on Lewis. Score, though, holding put, knowing better to attack as they're heading onto the final lap of Britain, better known as Silverstone. They're going through corners 17 and 18, Club's Corner right there, as they head through one last time on the International Pit Straight that leads to Abbey. This is where it matters the most. Score applying that pressure onto Speedy, who's finding himself in a good position away from the DRS, but getting himself still a little slidey. That soft tire compound is definitely going to be struggling now. Babu almost in the DRS range, and you can see Speedy getting his fronts all mixed up, not in the right position as he wishes for. Ooh, Scorenzi, though, getting himself also mixed up a little bit. They're both playing a smart game here before they head on to the final chicane that leads to the best DRS straight for any moves to be done. You will see all of them deploy all their battery for that play to be done properly. Ooh, Speedy getting out on the exit curb right there. Not what he wishes for. Stamso getting the move on to King Cobra, and this is where it matters most. Score is going to wish for the best exit right here. That's going to give him the best run out of Chapelle Curve as they head onto Hanger Straight, and this is where it matters the most. It's going to be the position of P1 at the fight right here. You can see both of them going at it. Oh my goodness, and that is going to be Score, who possibly comes out etching on top, but it's not. It's going to be them battling it out still as Speedy holds out in front, and that's going to put Speedy in the worst position as now he has to defend on the final corner, and he doesn't have it. He doesn't have it. Score couldn't get it done. And there you have Vabu, who's still unable to get that time at 3 seconds out as Hashbound takes a beautiful P3. A previous winner here, Mersaki. Oh, dangerously off on the exit of that line right there. And you'll see some positions still swapped about. Oh my goodness, Squirt finding himself P8 after such a horrendous start to this beginning of the race. That's going to hurt his chances completely. Penalties going out, U6, and Lewis having a collision at the last lap. Oh my goodness. That is just absolutely ridiculous. What's not ridiculous, though, is the wonderful fighting for those top 4 contenders right there. Speedy, Score, Hashmount, and Babu, who kept their noses clean throughout this whole race weekend. I'll tell you what, there's going to be so many penalties coming in. But that was lap 6 of IRL. So, with high tire deg, those who gained on that safety car found themselves in the better position at the end of this race weekend. If we take a look at the calendar, we're going to be skipping next week as it's Easter break. But after that, we're going to take a nice backtrack into Monaco, round 7. This has been round 6 out of 14 of IRL Season 3. You can see Speedy holding that wheel tightly, celebrating for that P1. Wonderful defense, wonderful racing on that last DRS straightaway where Score had the best opportunity to get a P1. These two having a possible battle for future races. Score could have gained a lot of points there for the Drivers' Championship. Still gained plenty, I'll tell you that. That has been one eventful race, I'll tell you what. And Max de Mesa leaving the session already, finding himself not in the points. A lot of drivers going to be questioning himself. A lot of drivers who found themselves in wonderful place-winning positions. A lot, though, that will be coming to the stewards' room, demanding penalties and appeals. That has been round 6 of Silverstone. Out of all of the 14 races, we have a lot more coming your way. Monaco is next week. It's going to be a full qualifying, that one. So we're going to have some new commentators also joining in for that weekend, if I'm correct. I won't be there, but I have been your host. And I've been helped out by Kos, who unfortunately wasn't there to also help, as you see him leave the session below. Thank you for joining. Hopefully, we'll see you next week.